Africa, and a very, very warm welcome to you. Welcome to a brand new week at Afternoon Express. I'm Trini D.
Good afternoon, South Africa. My name is Palisa Dembe. Congratulations to all the South African matrics. You've gotten your results. Now the real work starts.
Totally. Now, South Africans will know that at the beginning of every year, the matric fever has definitely got the country up in a frenzy. So over and above the successes and some of the failures, solutions remain the core of the issue.
Absolutely. So joining us today, we've got Delfino Machikicho, who is the district manager for Ikamva Youth in the Western Cape. He chats to us about the various systems that they have to provide learners before they even get to matric.
I mean, I had anxiety throughout matric, so this is going to be a really, really interesting conversation. We also have Anne Vadner, who is an organizational psychologist and career counselor, chatting to us about life after matric. But first, come with us. I want you to meet our very first guest. Please do stay in touch with us on Facebook or on Twitter, or pop over to our Instagram. Hello, lovely.
I know we've got definitely a fire show coming up for you guys. And listen, our first guest is just definitely going to kick us off in the right way. Now, joining us on the couch for the second time is the breathtaking Nambitha Ben-Mazwi. Now, we're going to be catching up with the actress on this year, what the year that's been, and everything that she has in store for 2020. Hey, girl.
Girl, can you say breathtaking again so I can see?
Breathtaking.
Yes.
Nambitha Ben-Mazwi.
So how was your 2019 and how did you see your 2020 end?
2019, I was challenged. I grew. I let out different parts of me. So the business side came out. You know, I really delved in, and it was absolutely amazing because that's my qualification. I'm a business scientist. And for me, I was like, you know what? It's time for me to really give myself a new challenge. I entered this thing called the Accenture Rising Star, and I went through from round to round, case study to case study, felt like I was back in corporate. And was announced one of the top 5 entrepreneurs in the country. So that was amazing. And now I have the challenge to get my actual media company going.
Exactly. So. Well, I hope that you've accepted that challenge because if I believe correctly, you are the only media personality that won in that category.
That's
of course, going up against other business people, other entrepreneurs, people that are kind of in a completely different field, but you're right up there with them.
Yeah, that was actually quite something because even the judges, they didn't even know how to really judge my entry. They were just like, we don't really even understand your industry. We're used to like techies and so forth and startups. So they also grew from this experience because I applied all my business strategy principles and models into what I do.
To the entertainment industry.
Exactly.
So did you do it as a prologue to start an entertainment company?
Absolutely.
So what is that going to be doing? That's exciting.
Well, it's going to be focused on another big love of mine, which is digital marketing. Obviously, guys, we know in our industry, influencers is the age. That's how things are going. And I think, you know, this was very premature of me because I had this idea way earlier, but South African media and business wasn't really ready for it. So we're doing brand storytelling. So I go from the marketer in me starts consulting with the brand. I say, okay, cool. What are your objectives? What are you trying to achieve? I come up with an actual creative campaign and I have a crew. We shoot it. So straight from inception to implementation, and there you have a brand storytelling digital.
Well done.
So, but Nambitha, you were very clear that before wasn't the time. So what is it about now? What is it about 2020? Is it you as a person, you're more dynamic, you've changed, you've evolved, you've grown? Or do you think that this is the current climate that South Africa needs this business? And of course, the timing was perfect.
I think it has to do with the infrastructure of South Africa. We don't really, we didn't have much bandwidth. So for us to be a digital world like New York, where they are obviously way ahead of us. It didn't make sense. Now we are seeing brands, people are spending more time on their phones. That is really marketing. No one's really watching TV commercials anymore. We're PVRing and skipping. So everything
other than this show, everybody's still watching this show.
The ad. Of course. Where are you guys at? We're all watching. But people are going to skip. They're going to skip adverts. So yes, now we have optic fiber. Data is now becoming less.
Thank you, Siyabonga.
I'm not going to say, data must fall. So there is more, everyone is spending more time on Instagram. Everyone is actually using digital. So digital marketing, the actual infrastructure of the country is now ready for it. And brands are kind of waking up now.
But you still have a passion for the screen. I heard that you want to make a comeback to TV and radio. And you've taken on a dream role. I want to know all about that.
Oh, this is so good, G. First of all, I love the fact that every single time I'm here, I feel like it's home. Because these are my roots. This is where it started. And I just love reconnecting with both of you and seeing how you guys grow. So I think it's time now to come back to the first, I wouldn't say first love, but the broadcasting, the presenting and so forth. I've been very quiet with that. I've been very strategic for that because I wanted to be taken seriously as a thespian, as an artist, as an actor, have those accolades and run away from the danger of typecasting. So I have a rule, and how I've obviously looked at my career as a true strategist I am, I've done exactly that. So every single role that I've taken has been vastly different from the next. I have a rule, I do not play the same character twice. So right now was the perfect challenge because I feel like I need more every single time. So this dream role, I don't know if it's the dream role. The dream role would be playing Nina Simone, but that's still coming.
Oh, yes, please. Okay. Take us there.
But sure, Shaquisha with a double E. She is a New York...
Shaquisha. She sounds like a New Yorker.
Feisty.
You know how it goes, boo-boo. So she is quite a handful. She's already causing quite a stir. I've been so overwhelmed with the feedback on Twitter. I'm like, guys, it's only episode 2. And it hasn't really even begun. So I love the challenge that I need to stick with the dialect. I chose the approach of doing a neutral Netflix accent, which I have previous experience in.
Did you get a dialogue coach?
So I... fake it till you make it. I do have a dialect coach. The experience from Black Mirror on Netflix did help because I had one on in the traders with me and so forth. So that was my first introduction to doing accent work. I do Nigerian accents and so forth. So I'm always kind of brushing up. But
I feel like we need to hear these accents.
I knew you were going to do that.
Hear the Nigerian. I want to hear the
I need to be prepared for this. I need to get into character. But with that being said, you know, with the production company, I mean, I got the kind of email of, listen, you wanted for this role at 5:30, and I needed to prepare a script and go in for the audition at 9 a.m. So I literally had a few hours. And not only that, I needed to understand and unpack the character because...
Who are these people doing production at 5:30 in the morning getting you to an audition?
No, 5:30
p.m. them. Oh, okay, and then... Okay,
so I had the evening to prepare, so I couldn't call my dialect coach.
Oh, no, exactly.
You know what I mean? Because I've got the evening, and first thing in the morning, I need to go there and pull it off. So I needed to trust myself. I was like, okay, cool, let's just do what we normally do. I can't be as meticulous as I normally am. And of course, the turnaround was immediately the next day. I'm already on production. I'm shooting 15 scenes a day. It's just go time. And so I weighed up, am I going to focus so much on being meticulous with my accent, or am I going to focus on staying true to the character? Because she's got a lot of darkness. She's got a lot going on. She's got a very troubled past, and she's got a mental illness. So I needed to say, what am I going to focus mostly on? Let me trust my dialect. Let me trust my accent. Let it become second nature. And let me tap into the darkness that this character has forced me to tap into.
Okay, give us a little bit of her.
No. That would be acting, not becoming.
Okay, true. So I just keep hearing you time and time again speak about your precision, your planning, being very intentful in everything that you do. Everything's on purpose. Nothing is by chance. And a lot of people have this fake idea of the entertainment industry that you can kind of fake it till you make it. Just stumble into an audition. You happen to get the role. It happens to be a lead role. So what about the process of going through all of this? What has it taught you? And why are you standing here now today saying, I'm actually ready for the next challenge? How does that look like?
Let's talk about the next challenge first. I want to say this here, live on TV. It's the, 13th of January?
Yes.
This year will be me starring in a breakthrough international role. I'm speaking it into existence. That will be the next challenge.
Amazing.
Thank you. That is it.
Received.
We got it. You all heard me. You can hold me accountable to what I just said. But the planning, and this is the best part I love about diving into a character. I love the planning. So, you know, I took a step back out of everything that was going on, and I was like, wow, at this very moment, I'm on 3 shows, playing 3 significantly different characters. One is a Xhosa defense attorney. The other is obviously, as we know, Shaquisha with a double E, okay? And then the third one is a 16-year-old Tswana schoolgirl. I don't even speak Tswana. So obviously all of those transitions are completely different. You know, 16 was a personal challenge because it's not about necessarily looking 16. My body language has to change. The way I had to think like a 16-year-old. You know how 16-year-olds are all fidgety and they're like, you know? So every single thing that I love about, you know, sitting back and being like, I research. I truly become. I actually went through social media hibernation preparing for Shaquisha. I spoke to, very sensitive, but I spoke to a friend whose sister is going through a certain mental illness and is in asylum. So I spoke to her. I tried to understand when she's having these meltdowns, what is actually happening. The crew can attest. The director and the DOP said, like, I had nightmares last night, are you okay? Oh, you know, the crew had to keep checking up on me because they're the ones watching. And I mean, I release and I just go through these hectic meltdowns, and they become so real that I need to be checked up. I had to acquire a new coping mechanism of de-rolling because it was hectic, you know. So I had close friends and family, told my mom, listen, just give me an hour after rap to just be by myself, but just please check in on me because I need to find myself back again.
You need to remind yourself of Lady Nam and who she is.
So the preparation, I take my work very seriously. I research. With the lawyer, I took out all my biz law old books. You know, I watched and I studied the body language of an attorney. So I literally infused myself with legal work and obviously watching all your favorite legal shows. So for this role, I stayed away from things like The Joker because I was going to lose it. And I actually, for me, it's about mirroring someone who is living it because I don't want people to judge the character and what she starts doing. I want to bring a human element into it.
I can't wait to see, and I can't wait to see how your year pans out. We're waiting for your international role. Thank you so much for you being here today. It's been really fantastic. After the break, we make these absolutely delicious mini fish finger calzones with Chef Intiaz, so don't miss out.
Just relax, it's just us two. Just do you. Do you. Nobody
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, as we get back into the swing of things, make going back to school fun again for the kids with our mealtime heroes. Now, Omega Mind, Captain Crisp, and of course, the incredible Hake. Sea Harvest fish fingers contain brain-boosting essential fats that are pivotal to your child's health. Now, we all know how much kids love pizzas, so why not try our fish finger calzones? So the kids will love this really delicious taste, and these are perfect for lunch boxes. So please do SMS the keyword fish to 33650 to get the list of ingredients and recipes. And you know what's so lovely? I've got like 100 godchildren, and they only either want to eat fish fingers or they want to eat pizza. This is a great way to combine the two.
Things like that. But the nice way of this is it's actually nostalgic because fish fingers on bread with tomato sauce was something I always ate as a kid.
Amazing. I'm still obsessed with that.
Well, still. So this is just a more gourmet, per se, version of that. And we have the new Sea Harvest home-style fish fingers that we're going to use in the Philips air fryer.
Lovely.
So instead of, you normally do it in the oven or you would fry it and get that nice crispy base.
Yeah.
With the air fryer with no oil, you can still get...
No, I bought one of these for Black Friday because obviously we all know how my culinary skills are. I bought one of those on Black Friday and it is the best thing ever. I buy the frozen chips as well. So when I serve fish and chips, it's fish fingers done in the air fryer and the chips done in the air fryer.
And it still comes out crispy though.
Oh, no, amazing.
Absolutely amazing and healthy. So this is just going to be popped in there for 8 minutes on 180 degrees.
Okay.
And then we're going to start with our homemade tomato sauce.
Beautiful.
So let's go for it.
Listen, I did a tomato sauce last week with Mo in this kitchen, and that was one of the best tomato sauces I've ever had in my entire life. So no pressure, but I'm going to be judging you today on this one and doing a little taste test to see if it's just as good. So you've got canned tomatoes diced.
So what I've got is canned tomatoes diced. You can use the can as well. You can dice your own fresh tomatoes. Okay. You can use chutney of your own flavor base. Yeah. I have some tomato paste and then oregano.
Beautiful.
And
oregano is amazing. It just allows everything to taste like Italy.
And then we're just going to mix that.
And is that the sauce?
And then this is our sauce.
Beautiful.
Super simple.
Yeah.
But the flavors work so amazingly together.
Yeah, that is a very good
And you
flavor
get that
combo.
smell of oregano, like it does. It does smell nice.
Oh, amazing. Okay,
no
then
pressure,
moving
Mo.
on to our pizza.
Yes,
no,
pizza.
I'm going to be tasting, don't you worry.
So moving on to the calzones, we have this fresh bread.
Yeah, is this one for me, one for you?
One for me, one for you.
Okay.
Just sprinkle some flour.
I'd quite enjoy doing this, actually.
Yeah,
I did a cooking lesson to learn how to make pizza once in Italy, and it was...
Well, that's my next trip, though.
I mean,
so you got to give me pointers.
I don't know if I learned anything because the guy who was teaching me was an Italian stallion. So I basically just spent the entire lesson going, hi.
More reason to go to Italy?
Obviously. Yeah, exactly.
Aside from Italian stallions, Italy also has amazing breads.
Yeah, everything to eat in Italy is amazing.
Pasta, bread. So we basically just want that size.
Sorry.
Roll it out.
We're spoiled for space. We're not spoiled for space here. Okay, but I think I've got it.
Roll your boat. Ooh. Yeah, something like that.
There's your food, Jeannie. There you go, I've got it. Now what?
Now we fill them up.
Okay.
So, tomato sauce for you.
Go for it. Okay.
Nice generous amount.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a tomato base is just so delicious. So I can see we don't have cheese. Is this the cheese free?
No, there is cheese.
Okay, good.
There's always cheese.
Oh, there it is.
So you can add as much cheese as you want.
Oh, I will. There you go. And then do you have to put it in the center? Even though you want to keep it over or what?
So what you want to do is you want to keep it in the middle.
Yeah.
And then when you put your two fish fingers on.
Oh, look how good mine's going to be.
Oh, that looks yum.
That's good, eh?
And then top it off with some more cheese, and then we just fold it over. And that's your calzone.
Okay.
It's super simple, super easy.
This you can't do in an air fryer, though, can you?
No, we're going to put these in the oven, though. But the fish fingers do come out nice and crispy out of the air fryer without the use of oil. So that's a plus. And aside from kids, I mean, adults would like this as well. And I absolutely
I'm salivating already. This is my lunch and dinner. There you go. Ta-dun, ta-dun.
Pop it in the oven, 20 to 25 minutes, and then, ta-da!
This is gorgeous. Can I cut one in half to see how good it is?
You have to.
Let's have a little look-see.
You can serve it with a dipping sauce of your choice. We just have a nice mayo and sriracha here. Open that up.
There you go. When
Nostalgia
the
at its
moon
best.
hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. So if you fancy this marvelous air fryer that helps to keep your food really crispy on the outside and tender on the inside without the use of oil, then listen up. We are giving away a Philips air fryer to one lucky viewer. This thing is revolutionary. It'll change the way you cook. So all you need to do is go to our Facebook page and comment on the Sea Harvest post by sharing your hashtag fish and tips. literally tips with a T. And of course, share your recipes with us as well. T's and C's do apply. And here's a quick recap of our recipe in case you missed it.
Cheers.
Okay, which sauce did you do? All right, on to one of the most important discussions to have, education. And of course, with the results just out, it's a perfect time to have it. Matric results almost always cause a flurry of emotions around the time of their release. So it's one of the only times when the state of South African education system is really under the spotlight.
Delphino Machikicho from Ikamva Youth joins us today for the important conversation. Now connect with us online. If you've got any questions for Delphino, tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express or comment on our Facebook page. Welcome to the Loft, Delphino.
Thank you so much for having me.
And what a perfect time to have you on the couch, because the conversation right now is matric results and what the next step is. But of course, with this conversation, the obvious comes up. Where is the state of the South African education system? Are we a lot further than we used to be, or are we kind of regressing?
You know, that's a very difficult question. Should be aimed at the president, not me.
Oh, well, that's an invite, Mr. President.
Mr. President should come and sit on the couch. I think if we unpack all the numbers, you know, because there's a lot of numbers coming, 81.3, 73, dropout rate, all these numbers that are coming out. But if we really take out the numbers and look at the crux of what's happening in the education system, we can still see that the inequality is still progressing. Yes, by number we can see learners are passing better. The learners that sit pass better. 3%, there's a gradual increase.
But
you can
are they
see
actually
that.
marking a passing better, or is the work getting easier for more people to pass?
I actually don't think so. If I bring the maths past the paper that was just written now, it is very difficult. I tried it, kind of vexed me a little.
Because I was looking at a lot of the stats, and it is quite alarming. Like, Pali and I were going over some of them, and they took like a lot of teachers that teach 11 and 12-year-olds mathematics, and they sat down to do the tests that their students would be doing, and 79% of them did not do well. They did less than what they expected the students to do.
You know, that's even
terrifying. That gives me goosebumps. Every time we speak
Guys.
about these stats, I just get goosebumps, because what if your child happens to be in a class that is taught by one of the 79 who aren't quite there with the maths?
Yeah.
You know, so actually, like, on the other side, we really have teachers that are putting in the hours. I think if we look at the context, I think it's a lot more important. We've got teachers that are teaching in rural schools where learners are coming in from broken down families. They're heading their families. They don't have time, anybody to support them. When they come to class, they're hungry. The class is 50 learners. And the content, the curriculum keeps changing, and they have to keep up with it. Technology is moving. They have to keep up with it. And they're putting in so much work and so much effort. So we really need to say congratulations and well done to the teachers.
Exactly. Last week, we actually had a whole lot of South African entrepreneurs on the couch that had done so well, and a lot of them had come from child-led homes that had just, you know, beat all the odds and really did achieve. So it's so good to know that there are places out there supporting these kids. Tell us a little bit about the work that you do at Ikamva Youth.
So Ikamva Youth started in 2003, and we work primarily in the township areas, rural areas, where there's not enough access to information, not enough good quality education. The schools are struggling, the teachers are struggling.
Yeah.
So we think that's where we are needed. So that's where we go in. We bring in our amazing volunteers from universities, colleges, students that have made it to university from the same community, and we say congratulations to you guys. And they're the ones that have led us to have an 85% pass rate as Ikamva Youth in 2019. They are our biggest funders. Those volunteers come back and tutor learners in the afternoon and on Saturdays as well. There's also a lot of mentorship to make sure that by the time the learner gets to grade 12, they're equipped, they're ready for the after matric life.
Yes, Delfino, and that is exactly what I feel like is missing in so many schools and in so many homes, where people wait until it's a matric now, a matriculant, and there's crisis mode. Everyone is trying to get the kid back up to scratch as to, are they at the level that they need to be? So how does Ikamva make sure that the work starts way before matric?
Yeah, so that's the big part, and we have to start early. And like you're saying, it has to start. It's not the last year of matric. You can't do everything in the last year. It has to start from grade 8, where learners are put in their strengths. Subject selection is very important. I think you can have a conversation about that. And there's also the important part about getting the basics right. Because when the learners get to grade 10, they're still at grade 7 level. So the teachers at grade 10 need to get you back up to grade 10. So every time we're moving on learners that are on the negative. So it's very difficult. So what we do is we work with learners from grade 8, the tutoring support. And we also bring in professionals that come and support, one in terms of psychosocial support. Because if you're coming in from a broken home, you're coming in from these difficulties in the communities, you need somebody who's going to listen to you, because many a times learners don't even have somebody who sits and asks, how are you doing?
Sure. You mentioned earlier that the divide is still too great with what, the pass rates and the education level are. Why is it like that? And what is needed to shift it and change it and balance it out a little bit more?
Another presidential question. Right, so I think resources are coming into the township areas, in the rural schools, but how they're used effectively is the problem. And I think there's also a very big need for the communities and every individual to also take part. I think it's very easy to say it's not working, teachers not doing their work, but we are sitting at home and not doing anything. But you can have time to say, I can volunteer my 2 hours a week and help a learner in maths. I can volunteer my 1 hour to say, I'm a professional pilot. This is the journey that I had to go through. I stayed in a shack. Now I'm here. This is what I had to do. So you also can do it. That thing, if one man can fly, we all can fly. Our communities don't have role models. And we need people to come back to our communities and do that.
So our pass rate was relatively good this year. However, from last year's matrics. However, not a lot of children actually made it to matric that actually sat and wrote those exams. How are you at Ikamva Youth inspiring students to stay in school, to get educated?
Make education fun. I think we're at a state where learners are going through so much, and we need them to come to Ikamva Youth, and Ikamva Youth is fun. So we do what is called edutainment. You learn by practice. We bring in a lot of activities that keep learners wanting to do more, wanting to do maths, which is the most dreaded thing. So working with online tools, working on your cell phone, reading on the cell phone, because learners don't read, but how do we get them to read? Put them on a cell phone. So trying to get all these, there are a lot of tactics that can be used to make education fun, but also the other part is just to bring in young people to also speak to these learners.
It's such a good point, because it's all in the narrative that these kids then change their perspectives. I interviewed the first black female vice-chancellor for UCT, and she obviously she is amazing. And she has done so well, with maths and science. And I said to her, how is it that you were able to do so well? And she said, when she was a young girl, her narrative was that maths wasn't hard. She was told that maths was her easiest subject, because you can go back and check your answers. So you would know whether you were right or wrong. So I think with a lot of these kids, their narrative needs to change. Their stories that they're telling themselves need to be different to inspire them to, to believe that they can pass and they can do well.
Yeah, that's very true. And I think also just they have to practice.
Yeah.
Maths there's nothing else more than that. You've got to practice for you to be better at it. Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. Growing up, my mom always used to say, change your narrative, change the story you tell yourself, because what you hate will grow up and hate you too. So what you give is what you receive, and a lot of people are giving back. We're hoping for it to love you back. But a lot of people at Ikamva have become these shining lights, have become mentors, and have been able to go back into the community and say, hey, look, I did it. You can do the same thing. What have been some of the special success stories that have come out of Ikamva that just have you feeling so good?
Right, so I think this year is our 17th year in existence. We're in over 17 branches in the country. And we have had over 2,000, almost 3,000 matrics right from Ikamva Youth.
Amazing.
And over 85% of those learners have passed matric. We have placed over 70% of these learners into post-school opportunities, because that's very big for us. We want to pull learners from poverty to have a dignified living. And it's not just about grade 12, passing grade 12, but the question is, what happens after?
Are they employable?
Are they employable? And where do you go? Do you just apply to university, or what are the other pathways that you do? And over 70% of our learners have been placed. And our numbers keep growing because we always have learners that go through our program and then come back and also be volunteers. And also the government that has been working with us very strongly in supporting in the township areas that we work in.
You know, the information that young people receive really does mold and change the people that they become one day. But Pali and I were discussing, you know, you do those little guidance counselor
the aptitude career test.
So I remember in primary school, when I did one, they said I must become a florist.
It's like, who writes these?
No, I mean, that's amazing. I bloomed.
Absolutely.
Well, we can see that.
No, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all of the work that you do at Ikamva Youth. It is so, so vital. Thank you for looking after our youth. It's amazing. For more information, of course, on Ikamva Youth, it'll be on our website. Join us again after the break as we are back in the kitchen making really tasty lemon curd parfait.
Together we will fly. Just relax, it's just us two. Just do you.
Clover Nolac, lactose-free milk that lets you enjoy dairy again. Made with love by Clover.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express, and thank you so much for kicking off your week with us. Now, nothing beats the sweet taste of a creamy, milky, and dreamy dessert on a hot summer's day. But if you're lactose intolerant, we've got you. Clover No-Lac milk is a versatile lactose-free milk that can be used as regular milk replacement. Now, we reckon that a decadent lemon curd parfait is the perfect ending to any meal. So if you would like to try this at home, SMS the keyword Clover to 33650. The SMSs will be charged at R1.50, and free SMSs do not apply. You got something sweet up your sleeve.
Yes, I do. So it's not just for lactose intolerant people. This actually is a sweeter milk, so it works for all desserts.
Oh, delicious. I love that. No-Lac is so brilliant because a lot of people, they try to stay away from creamy, desserty type things, but
so
this
what I'm
is
going to
easy.
start off with to make the parfait, this is the egg yolks that we already beaten up.
Okay.
And this is a simple sugar syrup.
Nice.
And then we're just going to mix that.
Okay. And then, of
Give it a
course,
nice mix.
is that the
This is the lemon curd. Nice and sour.
Bringing in that freshness. Oh, I do love a nice
I do love a
bitter
nice sour,
dessert.
but then
Me
also
too.
a little bit of sweetness. Like I like that balance of flavors, you know?
Absolutely. And, you know, for me, who doesn't have a sweet tooth, this is the perfect dessert to try.
Well, I have a sweet tooth, and it's still the perfect dessert to try. So just pour in a little bit of that milk.
Okay.
Go for it.
So
And stop.
drinking this No-Lac just as is, a lot of people are afraid that the taste is going to be so different and so foreign to what milk really is.
Yes,
but the
so-
consistency here and the flavor here, how does that pair?
The consistency is still the same. The flavor, it's a little bit sweeter. And also it has added calcium and vitamins because lactose intolerant people actually don't have a lot of those in them as well.
Yes.
And the great thing about it as well is that it tastes much better than normal milk. So
Love that.
I feel like we should all just buy No-Lac Clover.
Winning all the way.
Winning all the way.
And this is also very versatile to use in different cooking and recipes.
Yes.
You can kind of play with it.
So what we're going to do now is I'm adding the coconut cream because lactose intolerant people can't have normal cream.
Wow.
So no, we're not going to mix that.
not
we're
yet.
going to fold.
Oh, we're folding. Oh, I
Yes,
learned
so
this technique, and hopefully I'm not going to embarrass myself here, but you just kind of fold it in
Yes.
and make sure that that air is kind of incorporated.
Exactly
okay, I
like
love this.
that.
I can already see the color starting to
I
change.
like it.
It's not as yellow as it was.
So I'm going to talk more about the coconut cream. Coconut cream is actually lactose-free, so that's why we're using that for this dish. Also, we're going to add some pineapples to the end of this. So I'm thinking pina colada.
Oh, a nice pina colada mix. That coconut, that pineapple sounds really, really, really good. Remember, if you would love to try this amazingly delicious lemon curd parfait, all you need to do is SMS the keyword Clover to 33650. Okay, that is brilliant. Fold it all in
Fold
perfectly.
it all in, and then we're basically just going to take
Let me take this out.
a dollop of that,
Okay.
and then you're going to put it into your molds.
Stunning. So for our viewers at home who are not quite familiar with a parfait and what is this dessert, and how naturally or quite organically do people prepare it?
So parfait is generally an Italian calzones, French dessert.
Oh, look at us. We're going international, baby. We're going worldwide.
It's a French dessert, and parfait actually means perfect.
A perfect
A
dessert
perfect end
for
to a perfect
any
meal.
perfect day. I love this. Okay, so you put
this
a...
will go overnight into the freezer, and then voila.
Oh, looks so good.
Perfect. We're going to be adding some vanilla.
And I think this is granadilla as well.
Yes,
hey?
so throw over some granadilla pulp. Oh, look how it oozes over there.
It looks really, really good. And this is also going to play with that acidity and the sweetness.
Ooze. Acidity,
Yeah.
sweetness,
Let's add more.
and now add that beautiful grilled pineapple.
Grilled pineapple always looks so good. It reminds me of growing up in Durban on
Guys,
the
grilling
beachfront.
pineapple.
You know, they've got those people grilling pineapples right there. And of course, that flavor, the
I
smokiness.
don't know, all I see is pina colada.
Standing well, we all know where your mind is at on this Monday afternoon. Remember to SMS the keyword Clover to 33650 to get this recipe sent to your device. And just in case you missed on how we made this delicious dish, here's a quick recap. Delicious.
Made with love by Clover. Clover No-Lac, lactose-free milk that lets you enjoy dairy again. Made with love by Clover.
After the break, Anne Vanna joins us on the couch to chat about life after matric. Make sure to get involved in that.
Express yourself. Just relax, it's just us two. Just do you.
Good afternoon, and thank you again for tuning in and staying tuned throughout the entire show. This is Afternoon Express. Now, one of the most defining phases of life must be one's transition that happens before and after high school.
Organizational psychologist and career counselor Anne Werner joins us now to talk about it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You know, I remember the day that I got my matric results, and it was just such a relief for me that I knew that I could go to university and that I'd actually passed, because it was a huge stress. Are kids more stressed out about these things now? Because I know that there's an overwhelming amount of pressure on our youth at the moment.
I really think so. In terms of the people that I see, more and more are experiencing anxiety. We've got the whole aspect of social media where you have to be perfect to post a picture. You've got an economy that's not looking so good and hasn't looked good for a while, even though there's so many people working to change that, which means that, you know, there are not as many jobs available.
But the pass rate's also only 35%, so doesn't that take a bit of the pressure off?
For some it would, but there are lots of questions around how adequate that is for a pass rate as well. It's a very tricky business, education generally, and the pressure to keep on achieving higher and higher results because those are given to your top few adds even more pressure. And then pressures from parents, pressures from communities. You've got to get out there and do the work when sometimes, you know, some of the things that they suggest you're doing aren't really what you want to do.
Absolutely. I've known my entire life what I wanted to do, and I'm sure you as well. But the majority of people, you know, in that age group, don't have a clue what they want to be when they're big. So how do you go about guiding people what to do post-matric if they don't know what to study, if they don't know what to do for career options? I mean, a lot of people, there's just so many choices, or very few choices.
Yeah, actually loads. There are more than 160,000 different careers out there, and more developing as technology advances and the need for different careers comes into place. So with all the hype around the matric results, for me, I think it's just so important to slow everything down and get rid of this huge emotion and really start internalizing and reflecting on the self. Who are you and what is it that you really want to do? What are your particular gifts and skills and abilities? Where do you shine? What do you find yourself doing for hours on end without realizing the time? And we're not talking about Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. They're actually skills. So that has to be the cornerstone of any career process. And it's amazing how many learners, when you ask that question, so sure, it's a bit tricky to talk about yourself in such positive light, but they don't actually know what it is that they have a gift for, that they can do. And we're not talking about exceptional talent. We're talking about, hey, I'm really good with looking after kids, or I love cooking and creating different things, or I'd make a wonderful florist, or whatever, you know, whatever it is.
But do you think children are exposed to enough at a young age so that they can make wise choices like that? Because I find a lot of people either want to be famous or they want to be rich. They don't actually have the scope wide enough to say, actually, I'd be really good at being a florist or a hairdresser, or like, I mean, how many people go into skills at the moment? Do we have enough skilled people in
well, that's the thing as well. There's a big gap in the skill, especially around your tradespeople. Do you remember how you could go and find somebody, a seamstress, who could sew beautifully, and a tailor who just nips
how hard it is to find a plumber or an electrician in Cape Town.
That too. And increasingly, those sorts of positions have only been available or, you know, kind of more male. I'd love to have a female plumber come into my home with her team and do everything.
Me too.
And as a plumber, you can earn a fortune anywhere. You know, so it's your professional carpenter who will look at your cornices and they'll match them, and those sort of trades are very important. And there seems to be some reason why people don't want to move into those things, and it's all about getting the university degree and the money and the high heels and the water cooler and whatever it is, but it's not actually honing in on who you are and what you want.
University used to be, like, I remember when I was growing up, you had to have a degree. That was your ticket. Is it so important now? Like, is that the be-all and end-all? Are there lots of other options for kids who maybe didn't get into university?
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think it is the be-all and end-all. Besides which, it's tertiary education. It's higher learning. And although there is a sense that once you've got your bachelor's pass, you can go to university, do you really want to be there? If you struggled during school, why on earth would you want to go and continue an academic career? So that is what I mean by really getting to grips with who you are and what you really want to do.
And I think that conversation, and is just a continuation of what we started with Delfino, where we were saying that, you know, finding a career and finding what qualification to take on after matric actually probably should start in grade 10 when you need to pick subjects. And a lot of what we find is a lot of people are forced in a certain direction. Parents' opinions are coming into play. Other family members are coming into play. Instead of listening to the child, their needs, do they take maths core or maths literacy? Do I need to pick a BCom or something? Or do I need to do something more in the arts? How important is knowing what to choose in grade 10, chopping, changing to ultimately go on to study something further?
Yeah, it's vitally important because, for example, without science and maths, you can't get into engineering or medicine or Bachelor of Science and Computer Science. Those sort of degrees are made out to be the be-all and end-all. Maths and science, maths and science. I mean, the sad thing is that they're often not the teachers, as you mentioned previously, who have the ability to teach maths at that level. But once again, there are those people who simply cannot do maths. So them being forced to do core maths and to go and pursue...
I couldn't do maths. I couldn't do a day of maths.
And that's absolutely fine. And you have your academics who will go into astrophysics and actuarial sciences, but you've got your creatives who will go into all manner of creative type pursuits where they're using their personality. That's as much as a gift as getting an A aggregate for science.
Definitely.
I'm very interested for us to continue this conversation, not only here on the couch, but also on social media. If you're a matriculant, if you're going fresh into the tertiary life, or of course trying to grapple as to what subjects you need to choose in the next stage, do head over to our social media platforms and comment, share with us. We'd love to continue this conversation. I'll tune in after the break for some final thoughts from all of our amazing guests.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. I trust that you are having a wonderful afternoon. Now, today's show certainly has made it clear that a serious amount of focus and help, can achieve, well, with a serious amount of focus and help, you can basically be anything in the world that you want to be.
Absolutely. Now, joining us back on the couch are all of our guests to wrap up the important narratives, of course, that we're touching on today. And if you've got any more questions, let's keep the conversation going because we know how critical this time is for so many individuals.
I just wanted to quickly cover with you, what happens if kids have gotten their results now and they're freaking out?
Okay, so they're not happy with their results, so there's the option to remark.
Yeah.
It's a minimal cost. The applications for remarking end on the 22nd of January. They need to approach their school or the Department of Education. There's also the option of doing supplementary exams. Registration for that ends on the 31st of January, and then they will write after preparation sometime in May or June.
All right.
Otherwise, newly introduced is something called a second chance matric, whereby you are given 12 hours face-to-face help, as well as it's called matric online or
like for
online courses, for a complete rewrite of 2 subjects, a maximum of 2 subjects. And they give you all the help that you need to enable you to push up in those subjects.
Oh, that's good. It's good to see that kids are getting this kind of support now when they do go and write. It does take a bit of the pressure off. And of course, all of those details, should you require a rewrite or a remark, will be on our website.
Absolutely. And Nambitha, you're doing incredible things, of course, showing that you can go into different industries. It doesn't matter what you graduated with. It doesn't matter where you find yourself in life. You can always pick up and start again. And that is exactly what you're doing moving into 2020 with your incredible initiative, She Speaks. I mean, what juice do you have for us? What tea? And what do you want people to know about what you're working on?
My baby, my passion, my heart to my sleeve. She Speaks by Lady Nam is my women's empowerment movement. Of course, I've had quite a few now. But I'm ready to announce the next one. And I'm going back to my roots with this one. In Port Elizabeth, I think it's important to kind of nurture that talent, because I was one of those, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. And what I'm going to do is the demand of getting some training as far as acting, presenting, personal branding is so, so critical. So I'm going to kick things off. If it grows, I'm going to do a nationwide one. And it's open to boys and girls. It's She Speaks by Lady Nam, and the theme is business of the arts. So the business side is very necessary. A lot of creatives are lacking in that. So that's going to be my added value. It's going to be the full day. It's going to be at Boardwalk Hotel. I'm going to put it on my social media. You can get all the details of how to be a part of it. But She Speaks by Lady Nam, 22 February, Port Elizabeth, Industry, Business of the Arts.
Stunning. Well done. What advice do you have for kids that have just gotten their results and are feeling a little bit lost?
Right, so I think it's not the end of the road. And that's the most important thing. I think a lot of us feel as though we get to matric, we fail, and that's where it ends. Or even if we make it, we feel like we've already made it when we make it to matric. The world just begins now. And congratulate yourself. Well done. If you've not made it, it hasn't ended.
Your world has just begun.
Oh, I'm so excited for everyone. Congratulations to all the matrics. But do join us again tomorrow as we cook along with reality star and model Bloom Bombo. So much looking forward to it. Mwah. Thank you, guys.
Until tomorrow, good night and God bless.
Bye. Cheers, guys.
Thank you so much for being here.
Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.